watch this video at your own risk. These are two scary stories that will give you nightmares. Behind the curtains. It was late fall in my senior year of high school. I was driving myself to school at this point, and usually left around 7:15 a.m. to start the 20-minute drive. My parents' house is a split level, and I was putting my shoes on at the landing in between the two levels. My mother and father were already gone to work, so I was home alone. I grabbed my coat and went downstairs to go out the back door. As I'm putting my coat on and getting ready to step out into the early morning fog, I hear heavy footsteps on the stairs. Headed up to the top floor, the house has hardwood floors, so you can hear every single step and shuffle. My first thought was, oh, my dad must have left his phone at home or something. I walk back over to the stairs and yell up some sort of smart-ass remark about him always forgetting something. I wait for an answer. I yell up again, "Dad." I wait again, and when I'm met with silence, I make a swift turn and double time it to the back door. As I reach for the handle, I pause and hear rapid footsteps following my escape route pattern on the first floor, through the kitchen and into the dining room, stopping at the upstairs back door right above me. Now, when I say rapid, I mean crazy fast. That inhuman kind of speed that gives you chills in all the scary movies. I yanked open the sliding door, quickly stumbled out, and slammed the door shut behind me. I ran to my car as quickly as I could, back it up to turn around in the driveway and face the kitchen window. I stare for just a second or two, and notice one side of the curtains pulled back just a little. I get a new wave of chills just as I see them thrown back down. Needless to say, I got the hell out of there. I've never been so scared in my life. I did end up calling my dad. He went home and checked the house. Nothing was amiss. No one in the house. All the doors locked and secured. So in a nutshell, totally unexplained occurrence. The trunk. My mom and I were visiting friends and family in Alabama. We were at her friend Amy's house, and they were telling me about all the dumb, scary pranks they did in high school, and different urban legends from the area. Before we left for the night, Amy told us a story my mom apparently hadn't heard since she had moved away after high school. I was sitting on the trunk of the rental car as she told the story in the driveway of her house. The story was about a specific four-way stop where a woman had been hit and killed by an 18-wheeler. It was a hit and run. They say that the ghost of this woman jumps on the steps of 18-wheelers that pass through, checking to see if it's the driver that killed her. Needless to say, we had to go through this four-way stop to get home. We got closer and closer to the stop, but couldn't really see when it was coming up, on account of very little lighting. On the back roads of Alabama, my mom and I were joking about how glad we were that we weren't in a big truck. Next thing I know, my mom says, the trunk is open. I laughed and said, "Shut up, that's not funny," thinking she was trying to scare me. She pointed to the illuminated light on the dashboard, alerting us that the trunk was, in fact, open. He pulled up to the four-way stop. "Can you hop out and close it?" she asks. "Hell no," I scream. "You can get out and close it." We looked at each other for a moment and decided to wait until we came to a well-lit parking lot. to go close it, I kept looking back to make sure it hadn't flown open. My mom drove through the four-way at an excruciatingly slow pace to make sure it stayed down. Then I get to thinking, hey Mom, wasn't I sitting on the trunk before we left? All of a sudden, the trunk slams shut, and I mean slams like full force, from fully open, slamming down. My mom and I had one of those comical movie moments where we turned to look at each other, turned back, and then screamed bloody murder. My mom then floored it, and we raced to the nearest parking lot, frantically screaming nonsense, trying to explain what could have happened. The trunk light was still off when we pulled up into the lot of a Hardee's. We both got out of the car and went round to the trunk. On the bottom of the trunk lid where you touch to close it were two muddy handprints. That's it for the video. Comment below horror stories of your own.